Good morning, my dear students of semester 4. I hope you are safely back at your homes, at the comforts of your home. Today, we would like to discuss eminent science communicators and some of the science communication activities. I think I have uploaded in your Google Classroom one video lecture recorded last year itself during the initial days of the lockdown and coronavirus issue. Uh, but the same name, eminent science communicators, fine. But I would like to add something more to it, so I'm recording this video again. Okay, I hope it is helpful to all of you. Now, there are different types of science communication. One very prominent one is science fiction, or what we say is as sci-fi or science fiction. I mean, my board is not very good, so you'll have to excuse me for that. Science fiction. Okay, science fiction means it's a fiction, but based on some science-oriented activities. For example, 2001 Space Odyssey, which we'll talk about after some time. Then you can say Martian, which I have told you about in your first semester or second semester classes. Martian is a fiction based on scientific activities, scientific means science activities that a group of people go to the space, Mars, I mean, and they land there for some experiments, but because of some disasters, they had to come back, and one member of the team had to be left there, right? And he survives by a lot of different aspects, and he in fact does is able to do some agricultural activities also, and he survives for about 3 months or 6 months. Then he's rescued, and you'll be surprised. Just 2 3 days before today, I mean around May 1 or 2, I read a detailed news item in the Hindu that NASA has been uh, successful in conducting agriculture in the space in their space station. So see how they can sometimes imagine things after seeing it on science fiction or some other fiction or creative writing, and then carry out the same thing in practice. Here, then there is something called Scientun, science cartoons. Earlier, I had mentioned about one journal called Indian Journal of Science Communication. There, they use this to some extent. In some others also, I have noticed, but right now I don't remember all of them. Then we come to the person called Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov. He was basically a Russian person, but he, during his childhood or studies times, he went to migrated to USA and settled down there, and he became a very prolific science writer. I think he has around 200 books, science fiction as well as regular science books, or 20 or 30,000 small letters, postcards, etc. to his credit. Okay, and in fact, well, I was in class 12, I believe, 11 or 12. Then I think we had a lesson in our English textbook. There was a lesson on Isaac Asimov. I think it was a conversation between an interviewer and Sir Isaac Asimov. Okay. Then I still remember one very interesting thing Asimov have said. He said that many a times scientists, Asimov was a scientist himself. I think he was with Berkeley University, Pittsburgh or Berkeley University in USA. He said that many a times we derive ideas from science fiction only, and then only we go for experimenting it with such an idea. The basic idea comes from science fiction stories, and then we go for experimenting with it, and many a times those experiments become successful, and sometimes it may not become successful. Okay. Now, Isaac Asimov was a science fiction writer, as well as he also wrote science books in common in such a language which were understandable to common persons like us without a background of science. Okay, so go and find out everything about Sir Isaac Asimov. Okay, it is very fascinating. Then there is J.B.S. Holden, James Barton Sanders Holden. He was a British scientist. I think he worked in biology, in a broad field of biological sciences. He was from UK, and he worked on genetics, and he developed a theory. He developed a lot of experiments which were, I am told that which were consolidating or which were supporting the theory of Darwin's survival of the fittest, okay, and genetics. Now, he has done a lot of works in his field, and he tried to communicate those things to the common people, as well as his works in geology. Geological sciences helped a lot of farmers and people at the field in new innovations. He has developed some new innovations which are very helpful for the people at the field level. And it's very interesting. Uh, I haven't read his biography or why he has chosen to do that. He took up citizenship of India, and he settled down in Bhubaneswar. Though he settled down in Bhubaneswar, his area of work was quite big, and he used to carry out a lot of experiments, innovations, etc. And his life was a fully active life of a scientist, proper scientist, and someone who tried to pass on the benefits of scientific developments to the common people. Now comes Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. JVN, we call him affectionately. Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. Okay. He's an Indian person from Maharashtra, I think Gujarat or Maharashtra. And he studied in India for his PG, and then went to England for his PhD, PG and PhD again. There, he worked under one very prominent scientist called Fred Hoyle. Fred Hoyle. Okay. There, together they were there. He did PhD under this person, and together they developed a theory in science which had something to do with Einstein's theory of relativity. I can't understand all these things, but you should just know that they developed a theory which had something to do with Einstein's theory of relativity, and it is a very well recognized and prominent theory which was developed. He worked there for some time, and even while he was in the United Kingdom, that time itself, he has become a successful public speaker in science-related matters. In early 1970s, he returned to India, and he started taking a big interest in delivering popular science talks to people in a language which were understandable to everyone. Okay. And I am fortunate that I have listened to one of his public lectures, which was organized by Dibrugarh University in, I think, 2001 or 2002. That is almost 2 decades back. That time I was with All India Radio Dibrugarh. So when I came to know that this person is coming, I tried to take an interview, but interview could not be possible because of his ill health. But I enjoyed his public lecture very much. It was very convenient, very simple, and he spoke about the lot of things about space which I could have a nice and very partial idea from his talks. Okay. He used to speak in such a language which you can compare to the Mission Mongol films language. Mission Mongol, I have referred to it in another lecture, I think. In Mission Mongol, they have rather too simplified the things, but Nerdikar also had that knack of doing so. I mean, and he made us know. I mean, he made us. He explained things in such a simple way that we could have we could have some amount of idea at least about that. Okay. Then comes Professor Yashpal. Professor Yashpal was a science person who was a very prominent scientist come teacher in India, and he became vice chancellor of one or two universities also. And he was chairman of University Grants Commission from 1986 to 1991. He was one of the most prominent science communicators India has ever produced, like Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. Okay. And Helen was not from India, but he settled in India. Uh, and I have probably many a times referred to a program called Turning Point, Turning, Turning Point, which is a very prominent and successful science communication program started by Doordarshan India in 1990s. That program was a brainchild of Professor Yashpal. He was very much closely associated with it, and it was because of him that the program got a lot of success. Okay, I have seen a few episodes during those days while I was doing my graduation. Okay, so he was there, and I also have the fortune of I mean, being able to listen to one of his lectures while he was in Guwahati University for some UGC related works, and he delivered a lecture there. Same thing. And he used to speak in such a simple language, I mean, that anyone with any kind of educational background could be able to understand what he was saying. Then comes from Assam, we have Dr. Dinesh Goswami. He started his career as a professor of physics from Cotton College, now it is university, and then he joined as an editorial person of a journal called, I think CSI journal or so, from Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which is the official government body of taking up research in different basic areas and applied areas. In Assam, we have a regional research laboratory just near Jorhat. I mean, it is Jorhat basically. Now that they have changed the name, Northeast Institute of Science and Technology, I think. Dr. Goswami started his career in Delhi, but later on he was transferred here and he retired now. But while he was even in Cotton College, he has developed a fairly good capacity for writing science-related issues in the form of drama, then say other stories, short stories, even I just it just came to my mind. He also wrote a lot of science fiction novels, quite a few, and he is one of my favorite science fiction novelists. I have read it in Assamese. I mean, he writes in Assamese mostly. English also he writes, but I have read him mostly in Assamese. He has written quite a few science fiction stories as well as novels over the years. I have liked it. And he used to write radio dramas. Even while I was in school, I read one or two simple books on different complex aspects of science, which he explained in such a nice way that anyone could understand it effectively. Then we come to one Professor Kirodhar Barua. I think I might have taken the name earlier also, but here again I would like to take the name. That is, I think I forgot to bring it. He is a regular writer of science-related topics in Prantik. Just let me show you. Here. This is Prantik, which is a very popular Assamese magazine, fortnightly magazine here in Assam, in Assamese language. This is one of the articles of Professor Borua. Borua. You can find the name Kirodor Borua. And he has also written about some tidbits of science or new developments in science in this magazine. I mean, he's a regular columnist for so many years in this magazine. Okay. Once in Guwahati University, I have invited him for a talk on science communication to the students. I mean, he was prolific and he lives very near to us. He was professor of chemistry in Biswanath Sariyali College, Biswanath College you can say, and now he is retired and he stays there. Okay. Try to find out more things about these persons whom I have said, and also here because of I mean the limitation of scope and time, we can talk about only a very few people, and that too in a very say summary way. Okay, but you should also try to find out if you can find any other such communicators in science. Yesterday suddenly, when I was thinking of some points for delivering this lecture, this name of this movie came to my mind, Wild Wild West. It was a movie which was made in 1999. It's a Bollywood movie, Hollywood movie made in 1999. I mean, description you will find in the one. Wild Wild West. You know, in USA when people were settling down around 200 years back, it was a new territory. A lot of rivalries were there between people, among people, between people, etc. So a lot of fightings used to be done, and that is why they have a big gun culture. Okay, all kinds of guns are. I mean, in most of the states, it's very common to find people with guns. Of course, not everyone is carrying the gun in public, but owning a gun or small arms or big arms is much more convenient or easy than in our country. Okay. It is also said that in some states of USA, you can openly carry your gun here publicly, so even displaying your gun. In some states, they do not allow display, but you can carry it concealed in your clothes. Why I am saying this is the Wild West. The term Wild West conjures a term of conjures an image of say sheriffs and outlaws fighting for space, dacoities, etc. There were a few movies for a few dollars more, fistful of dollars, the good, the bad, and the ugly, etc. Okay. Now, this is a film based on those days. Okay. There, there's a bad element, a person who has considerable scientific knowledge, and he has prepared a lot of medicines, and one was I mean, they call it tarantula. Tarantula is the name of a species of a spider. It's very dangerous, usually found in Australia. It's supposed to be very dangerous. If it bites you, I mean, people may die. That bad element character there, villain in that film, he has prepared, he has made a very big train-like structure which has everything. You can, it's a very complex machinery, and person can sit on it. It can destroy anything and everything. It can catch people with a very long arms like crane. Okay, you should try to see that movie sometimes. Okay, and because there is some instruments and some devices which are shown in this movie. If the story is actually correct, story is actually true, I mean, then that means you would have to need a very good imaginative power for preparing such devices more than 200 years ago. Okay. So the name is Wild Wild West, made in 1999. Try to see it. Then comes another movie, 2001, A Space Odyssey, which was made in 1968. Okay, 32, 42, 52. more than a century ago. Okay, so uh, this I have not seen this movie, just a glimpse of this movie I have come to know. This is also talking about space travel many years back. I mean, more than 50 years back, when it was not even uh, thinkable or imaginable. Okay. Then, you know, I think I have also told you about one film called Contagion, which came sometime back, a few years back. Contagion. Talks about a certain disease, and I have not seen it properly. I have seen just few glances of it. Now people are saying, even last year, people were saying who have seen this movie that the situation we are going through because of the COVID-19 situation was almost the exact situation was described there. Now you'll find it very interesting how somebody might have, thought about such a story even before they have actually happened. Okay. Uh, there is another film, there is another book, not in science communication, of course, it is a general one. Windmills of God. Windmills of God. That movie was, no, that film, that book has described the events which led to the overthrow of the Romanian government, Nicolas Ceausescu, around 20-25 years back. Okay, there was a major revolution in Romania, and the book was written about 5 or 10 years before that that incident actually happened. And the persons who told me, who read that book and who has seen the event happening, told me that it was an exact description of what would have taken place. Okay. That is also surprising many times how these things happen. I have already told you about the movie Martian, how he is a person who gets stranded in Mars, struggles to live and has developed agricultural activities for survival. And now NASA is saying that they are being successful in conducting agriculture in space. Okay. Now we means the world scientific community is going to make colonies, space colonies, in the space. Okay. So that way, many times things develop. You get ideas from science fiction, and then you develop those ideas into reality, and finally you get something better. Uh, Yesterday evening, when I was thinking of this lecture, suddenly I came to the name of this movie. Book came to me, that struck me. What is it? As you can see, the name of this book is Lost in Outer Space. The Incredible Journey of Apollo 13. Apollo 13 is a spaceship which was launched in 1978, and this is a biography. This is a description of how they also had developed some problems of connectivity. They could not connect, and there were some technical issues also. And this is a good description of how they could overcome everything and come back to Earth. Fine. So I think you should. I have read it. Actually, I never knew that such a book existed. But my son, who is in class 10, he bought this book around 2 years back from his from an exhibition in his school. Well, I'm very sorry. In the earlier video, the current went off because today we had a major storm here. Okay, sorry. Yeah. That is very interesting how scientists, the community takes a cue from science fiction many times, and then they develop it into a concrete idea. Okay. Now, let me show you something which came in Hindu yesterday. No, not yesterday. It is of May 4th. May 4th, this which is reviving residues. Residues means something which is left over, which is a waste basically. say from rice husk, paddy husk, Husk, paddy husk means the cover of paddy, which is usually a waste, but it is in Assam we usually use it for as food for the cows or other animals. The cows like it very much. And earlier days when we didn't have gas in LPG gas in our homes at villages, we used to utilize this thing for burning the fire in the morning, okay, which used to keep going on for the whole day. Then again, the straws of paddy plants, that is a waste. Some of it are used in packing China materials, I mean bone China materials, etc. etc. Now, these two girls, they have come out with a system of using those waste, not necessarily husk, I mean it can be of anything, any kind of vegetable or material waste, and they have devised a system for developing, utilizing those waste materials into electric batteries, chargeable electric batteries, which are used for electric vehicles. Okay. Now, this is interesting. They say that they found a book of biochemistry in their grandfather's library, which had a saying, I mean sentence, that proteins may have potential benefits in electrolytes. Just from this one single sentence, they have developed a inspiring story, and finally they did a lot of experiments, and finally they came up with this story. I mean, came up with this activity. Fine. So you see how a small development in science can help you. I mean, a small idea in science can help you. Okay. And how you can write, or you can broadcast, I mean you can prepare an audiovisual program in this regard to be communicated to people, so that other people can get inspired to do an experiment in this regards and develop it into a proper activity. Okay. Then one thing I forgot to tell you earlier, many times these video games, these are also some kind of science fiction to my understanding. I would like to call them a science fiction to a big extent, and many things which they do visualize even before it happens are later on developed by scientists into proper activities. Okay. Right now, I mean. Whenever we mention the term video games, I at least personally have a negative impression about it. Say PUBG or other this kind of negative games. The impression of negative games actually come to my mind. I don't know how you take it, but I always say that everything has a positive side, negative side. Then why don't we try to take advantage of the ideas which some of these video games show us, and show a potential? If we can find that there might be a potential for using it, why don't we take the idea and try to experiment with them for devising some activity which will be beneficial for us. Okay. So in short, this is about a few eminent science communicators and some of the avenues of science communication, which includes science fiction, science tunes, stories, etc., etc., everything. And time travel, I think there is a movie my sons keep watching time to time, Avengers Endgame. These are all fiction, nothing else. These are all fiction. Fiction means it's a imaginary or creative story. But many times, how they impact us. I think, have you seen this movie called Avatar? Avatar. Avatar is a movie which was made around 10-12 years back, and Avatar is an Indian name, fine, but it was made in uh, a movie made in Hollywood has been given the name Avatar. So you can see how our literature as culture has also impacted and influenced other cultures. Okay, this is also a science fiction, and if you look at it, I looked at. I mean, I had an opportunity to go to USA for about 1.5 months. The mentor who was assigned to us, he one day invited us to his house, and we saw the movie there. My first impression was that it is a same universal story, like advanced people from advanced countries dominating or colonizing rather weak countries or underdeveloped countries. The way that happened in USA, by which they colonized the Red Indians, and they were almost annihilated, or they were almost, I mean, made a non-entity in their own land, and the way the British had done in India or any most of the other colonies of Asia as well as Africa. Okay, that apart, that is a sociological or anthropological story. But on the other hand, see the way how they have managed it. I mean, they have made the story. It is a science fiction. It is a story based on science, but it is an imaginary story. Okay, but each and every activity, plot, subplot has its own meanings and impacts for the common people and the general society around us. Okay. So that way, how you have to look at things, always try to find out a positive angle in everything. Mission Mongol, in fact, yesterday evening while I was relaxing at my home, I just, the movie Toilet at Prem Kotha came to us. Okay, came to us means it was running on the cable. I have already seen it earlier, but there are two things here. One is, uh, it is a good movie. I mean, it's a good effort to popularize the concept of having a toilet in our houses rather than going to the field. You can imagine that around 10 years back or 8 9 years back, about 35% of the Indian population used to go to the open field or for defecation, or they did not have they have the concept of, this provision of what is called the proper toilet. Okay. That was about 10 years back, I think 10 12 years back. And that too, of course, all over the country it was not similar, but there were big differences. But as a whole, it was around 35%. That was an official figure. And now I think it has come to around 10% or 12%. That means 10-12% of the people who are still not used to the concept of having a toilet at their houses because of economic factors or because of other factors. Okay. Or the percentage might have gone down also. I have not kept track of it now. And there is also another issue here, that is, even after more than 75-76 years of independence, that is, even despite celebrating Diamond Jubilee of our independence, we are still 100% not having a proper toilet. 100% of the population of the country is not having a proper toilet at their homes. Then again, in health communication, I have talked about it. If you look at the other story, the Padman, the use of easily available sanitary napkins for the people. We have to make a film to influence people about these things, having a proper toilet, use of proper sanitary napkins, which are simply available by our young women. That also reflects kind of lethargy or kind of negligence we have been taking, or we have been giving to such important issues. These are small issues but very important issues. Okay, and we have to make a film at this hour after 75 or 76 years of independence. That is a very big irony. Okay, so science communication has to have the motto of inspiring people for doing something, and I hope these two movies, or I mean recent whichever movies are made, or science fiction, proper science activities, etc., etc., they will inspire people for developing a scientific mindset and reasonable, I mean, mindset with a reasonable, uh, with proper reasoning in future, so that we can enhance the standard of living of our society and ourselves individually. If the standard of living of every individual person is developed, then the society itself will develop. In another video, I have talked about community. If every individual is properly behaving, the community will be behaving properly. And if every community is behaving properly within the society itself will be behaving properly. Okay, so charity begins at home. It starts at your own life. Okay. Well, let me stop here. I'm sorry, there was electricity line cut, so these two videos will have to be seen in together. I hope you will bear with me. Thank you very much. We'll see you. We'll meet you. I mean, we'll meet very soon within about a week. Okay.